I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Never heard that before. I feel like I'm on the news. Hello and welcome to our special live video on 2nd gen AMD Ryzen CPUs. Now, just over a year ago, AMD returned to the processor market with a bang, with a new series of CPUs based on a revolutionary new architecture codenamed Zen. These new Ryzen CPUs were a sea change for AMD, offering brilliant multi-threaded performance with Ryzen 7 models boasting an impressive 8 physical cores plus 8 SMT cores. And just yesterday, AMD launched its 2nd generation of Ryzen processors based on the new and improved Zen Plus architecture. Now, we've already posted an in-depth video plus performance benchmarks on these new 2nd gen Ryzen processors, which of course you can watch on our YouTube channel. Make sure you check that out. However, we also thought it would be fun to give you a chance to engage directly with AMD and learn more about these new 2nd gen Ryzen 2 processors. So it is my great pleasure to introduce our special guest, James Pryor from AMD, all the way from America. Thank you for coming in.
Oh, you're welcome.
Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty, tell us what you do at AMD then.
So I'm a business development manager. So I help our sales teams, our PR teams, all of our businesses that we work with, the customers, learn about the product, what do they need to know to make good systems, how to sell, that kind of stuff. It's a big role, it's a lot of fun. I focus on Europe specifically, so I get to do all kinds of cool things here over in Europe.
Fantastic. And now here you are in sunny Bolton
Yep.
for our first live stream here at Scan. Hi to everyone who's watching. We've actually got some nice questions here that we're going to come to in just a moment. But first of all, let's cover off some of the big questions that I'm sure a lot of people have got. We've got some here. Let's talk about die shrink first of all.
Okay.
Now, the 2nd gen Ryzens are made using a new 12 nanometer process as opposed to the old 14 nanometer process.
Yeah.
So first of all, what does that mean to people?
Yeah, well, so when we were looking at how to make Ryzen better, we wanted to look at, what do people care about? They care about performance, they care about efficiency, they don't want something that's going to use a lot of power. So we were looking at how do we do that, and that's where our partner Global Foundries, who makes our chips for us, were able to offer this new world's first consumer 12 nanometer process. So it's really optimized for giving more frequency while using less power, which is what everybody's asking for every day. They want things to go faster. That's what this does.
Absolutely. I'm sure you've made a lot of people very happy with that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about multi-threading. It's been one of Ryzen's strong points, I think it's fair to say. Can we expect much of an improvement in multi-threading performance with the 2nd gen Ryzens?
Yeah, that's a really big area of improvement. We developed this new technology called Precision Boost 2. So there was a 1st gen version in the 1st gen, and now we've got a new version, and it operates much more granularly. There's hundreds of sensors inside the chip, and this is an intelligent processor. So it can look and examine itself 1,000 times a second to see what is it doing, how fast can it run. And we increase the granularity, so now it can move all cores and threads up and down in performance terms so that we get more multi-thread performance in real-world situations. So you're going to see really kind of an effective frequency boost of 300 or 400 megahertz, which is super technical, but what it means is that's a 10 to 15% improvement in real-world applications depending on what you're doing. So that's right away you're going to see if you're doing something that was multi-threaded before, it's going to go faster. You'll notice it right away.
Brilliant, which is the big buzzword, faster. That is what we like to hear. Now, new processors aren't the only thing AMD has been working on. We've seen a lot of innovation on the stock cooler side of things from you as well over the last year. Can you tell us more about the new Wraith Prism cooler?
Absolutely. That's actually one of the hats that I wear as product manager for the Wraith lineup. So this is kind of my baby. It's very exciting to bring it to market. So we had this previous product called the Wraith Max, which we thought was the best we could do with a stock cooler, but we got some great feedback from the market saying, you know, we've got a couple of issues we'd like you to look at. Like, number one was when you put it into a small system, sometimes the edge of the cooler would touch against the tall memory DIMMs that have the glowy bits on them. Yeah. So we reshaped the profile a little bit to make it more compatible. And at the same time, we went in there and did a few other tweaks and tunes, like some direct contact copper heat pipes to the base, and added a ton of RGB because, you know, what everybody really wants is a swirling vortex of light directly into their eyeballs when they're looking at their PC.
Of course.
So that's what we did. We got RGB, AMD logo, RGB
Amazing.
ring around the outside of the fan. The fan lights up itself. It's all controllable from inside our software or even from our partner motherboards as well. So you get this beautiful effect. Or if you don't like RGB, you can just turn it all off.
Yeah.
So
you've got options.
You've got options. And then because we're AMD and we love getting a little bit extra, we added an overclocking fan profile so you can up the speed and get even more performance.
Awesome. I think you've made a lot of people very happy there. And RGB seems to be uber popular wherever we go. We've actually got this flashy system here from our 3XS team as well, which we'll talk about a little bit later on.
Great.
Okay, this is a really good question actually that I know a lot of people, when we've been discussing it here, have had. Why have AMD developed an extra motherboard chipset, the X470, when existing motherboards were compatible with 2nd gen Ryzen?
That's a great question. So one of the things we're looking forward at is new energy standards, compliances that affects the whole of our business, because we don't just sell products to DIYers and enthusiasts and to system builders. We sell to global manufacturers as well. And what we needed is an updated chipset that was going to be compliant with the California Energy Commission. So to do that, we had to reduce the idle power, comes down around 50%. And then we also took the time to improve a couple of tweaks in there. So if you've got lots of USB devices and you're moving a lot of data around, that'll work a little bit better. And that's what was inside the actual X470 chip that's on the motherboard. But the second thing we did was take all the feedback we had from the 1st gen launch and put that into the motherboard design of X470. So better power phases and VRMs, all the technical gubbins that go in there to get the power into the CPU and the memory, all of that's improved. So it improves stability, performance, overclocking, and ultimately it makes it a better optimized platform for 2nd gen Ryzen.
Awesome, there you go, and expertly answered as well. Hopefully that's cleared up anything for any questions that people might have had around that. Okie doke, what other questions should we go for? Let's go for one that we've had sent in from some of our viewers. This is a good one actually, I think, to maybe differentiate between the two. We've got Aaron here, asks, why would I choose a Ryzen 7 270X over a similarly priced Core i7 8700K?
That's a great question. So today, because we're one day after the launch, you've got all these independent media reviews. So I'd say, number one, let's take a look at that and see what the tone is. And I think overall, you're going to see they're very positive for the 2700X, saying that between the two processors, the gaming performance is about the same. You're going to get the same great experience. It's beautiful, it's fast, it's smooth, but there's some significant advantages that Ryzen continues to offer. So if you care about anything more than gaming, right, then what else do you get? You get more multi-thread performance. You get the beautiful coolers. You get this ecosystem that's already available. You can buy low-end, medium-range, high-end motherboards. All of that's baked in, ready, easily available. And then you get all the benefits of extra features like Store MI. So if you buy an X470 motherboard, you get a free copy of Store MI, which is our wonderful new caching software that tiers between two different types of storage, making it really simple and easy to have your games go fast, your applications load fast. It's a huge benefit. So we're offering more than just, hey, look, here's 8700K, here's 2700X, price to price, which one should you get? We're trying to add in the whole user experience. We've got a very fantastic pricing, and we've got a ton of other features that make us very compelling. And that's what's being called out in all of our media reviews, because they're saying, look, you've got everything here. Now you've got choice, now you can pick AMD, and you've got this beautiful 2nd gen.
Expertly answered, and also a really good point to remind everybody to check out our tech spec that we did, because we compared the Ryzen chips against the Intel i7 and various others as well, and we showed the results there from various benchmark tests. So it's really interesting. Check that one out. We've got a couple more here from home. Let's find a juicy one, and then we will see what everybody's saying on YouTube, because I have got a ton of them here. It's nice to see that people are tuning in. There's lots of hellos. We will give you some shout outs in just a bit. Okido. Andy there, we've answered his question. Mo here asks, what has AMD done to close the performance gap in games with Intel compared to Ryzen 1?
Oh, that's a fantastic question. So when you look back to the first gen launch, and we had some great reviews, some great adoption, we saw some wonderful sales numbers which we're very pleased with, there was some criticisms around gaming. And we were kind of behind on some titles, and we went and took a look at what was the reason behind that. So there were three main reasons. Number one was optimizations. Developers don't know how to use Zen Core to its fullest yet. So we've seeded hundreds, if not thousands, of systems to developers so that when they're creating their new games, it's going to be optimized and work beautifully. Number two was about the memory configuration in the system. If you run slow memory versus fast memory, then it can make a difference to your gaming, because there's games that use all the cores and threads, or applications that use all the cores and threads, and that's great if your application, your workload, breaks up into nice little packages that you can do all at the same time. But if you're doing this like gaming, which is just about one image at a time, serial, it's latency based. It's all about going as fast as you can. So we looked inside of the memory and what we can do there, and that's where all those improvements come from. That's why second gen motherboards, the X470 boards, have that improved memory compatibility and overclocking capabilities. That's why inside the die, at the lowest level we could, we reduce latency. The memory controller, L1 cache, L2 cache, L3 cache, so as the data flows through that chip, it's 10, 20, 30% lower latency now. And that directly improves the gaming experience. And then the last thing we did was look at the frequencies, because that clock ticking away, that's really what makes it high performance. So we add new high frequencies because of 12 nanometer, and then we took in that new Precision Boost 2 to give us more effective frequency or more cores and threads, and that's how we closed that gap and got to where we are today, where it's beautiful, smooth gaming that's an excellent experience, but still offers the benefits for streamers, creators, professionals, whatever else you want to do.
Amazing. He's good, isn't he? He's good. I've just noticed here we've got a couple of people asking, are we actually live and can we take questions? Yes, we can, so make sure you send them through. And I believe there might be a little volume issue, which we are working on. So we are live, as you can see. Let's take a couple of questions, though, that we had sent in this week, because we've pushed it out on all of our socials, and we've got loads of cool ones here. But make sure you do send them in, as I say, on YouTube. Here we go. First gen Ryzen's had a few well-published issues with high-speed memory. What has AMD done to address this with second gen Ryzen's? That's from Becca.
All right, well that's a great question. So like I said, we took it very seriously at a silicon level inside the design, how we make the chip. We improved our memory controller, so we improved the ability to support high-speed memory. We reduced the latency so the data flows through faster, and then we asked our partners who make our motherboards to make improvements to their designs to help with stability, to help with speed, to help with performance. So we took an end-to-end approach, and everybody who's involved in that has now been able to get better at supporting it. We even saw, we've got a memory manufacturer today just announced brand new certified for Ryzen memory kits at higher clock speeds than we've ever seen before. So we've got the whole ecosystem behind us, right? You can go out and look, you can find motherboards with excellent overclocking capabilities, you can find memory designed to overclock on Ryzen, as well as the Ryzen chips themselves.
Amazing. Right, we've actually got our first question from YouTube.
Beautiful.
When I say that you send your questions in, make sure that you make them a really good question, because they are being moderated, so we won't be able to do all of them, unfortunately. But our first question comes from David Wilson. Hi, David. And it says, many people are saying Ryzen provides a smoother gameplay, maybe not the peak frame rate, but a better gameplay. Can you give us a little bit more information on this?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, the smoothness is about the consistency of the frame delivery, about not having less the variations. So you can get a very high peak frame rate, but if you've got a lower other frame rate, then you're going to get a choppy experience, because, as when we're playing a game, we're used to expecting what comes next, and if it happens in a nice, smooth manner, it's linear, it's predictable, we have a smooth experience. We like it. When it's very unpredictable and there's that jarring, it brings you out of the game, it makes you feel like you're not like it, makes you feel like the PC is in your way, so you're not able to give your best performance. So Ryzen is able to deliver a really smooth experience because we've got all these cores and threads, this massive multi-threading performance advantage at every price point gives us a way to smooth out all the processes, all the things that's happening in the background, and run much faster. We've got this fantastic special sauce inside of every Ryzen with the Infinity Fabric. It's a beautiful name, right? Infinity Fabric. Just rolls off the tongue. But what it lets you do is it moves the data between the cores and the caches and the memory very, very fast and very, very efficiently. And that's the guy that really is the secret. That's our real true differentiation with Zen Core and Infinity Fabric together. That gives us this beautiful flow of data, and that's how we get that smooth gaming experience.
There you go, David. I hope that's answered your question. We have got another one here from Kat Merck. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. Can we expect Store MI to allow for more than a single pair of drives in the future?
Well, that's a good question. So right now it's limited to a single fast drive and a single slow drive. You create your fused tier and your data moves intelligently around so that, you know, everything just goes into one big pool of storage. The most used data goes onto the fast drive and even gets cached into memory, so it loads in as fast as possible. And that's enough for 99% of the people out there. We do have upgrade options from our partner who's providing our storage, and you can go to their website and just buy the key to unlock more capabilities, more capacity. Whether we're going to go to multiple tiers is going to kind of depend on the demand, right? We're looking for feedback. Do you want to be able to do 6 of these? How much is enough? Let us know.
Yeah, well, there you go. There's your opportunity. Don't sit at home frustrated about things you wish you could tell AMD, because they're here today, and James is a great guy, and he's already said you can send them through. So any comments, add them below. We're going to go to one here, actually. We're going to go slightly back. When you were talking about Precision Boost 2 a little bit earlier, I think this is a really valid question. Are we going to see the end of manual overclocking, except in extreme circumstances? I mean, you talk about the performance enhancements with Precision Boost 2, but, you know, what would you say to that?
No, absolutely not. I'm a tinkerer, a tuner. I love to overclock manually. I love the technology that's inside this chip that lets you have this huge high peak boost rate for as many cores and threads as is allowed, but still gives you this guaranteed base frequency for when you're really hammering hard on the chip. But I still love to do manual overclocking, so that's why it's still available. Whether it's going to be obsolete, I don't know. It depends on what kind of workload you're doing, right? If you were to run, you know, a 4.2 gigahertz overclock on your Ryzen 2700X, then some things you might feel it's actually a little bit slower because you don't get the 4.35 boost on 4 or 6 threads that you were before. But you're getting way more boost, you know, on that 16 thread application than you would at stock. So it depends. If you're just purely gaming, probably best to leave it in its stock configuration. If you're gaming and streaming, then an overclock is going to help you have even more performance because you're using all those cores and threads. So think about your workload, but then that's the beauty of the software we provide called Ryzen Master. What Ryzen Master lets you do is create simple profiles, so you can say, okay, right now I'm going to go into that mode where I'm using all the cores and threads. I'm going to put my overclock on. Oh, I'm done with it. I'll turn it back off. You didn't have to reboot. You didn't have to go in and do other stuff. It's just right there. So it's very simple and easy to tweak and tune as you go, making you the Ryzen Master.
I like that, the Ryzen Master. Okay, let's go to some of the questions that we've had said in this week. Let's find a juicy one. Okay, let's talk about gaming. Charlie from Leicester here says, why does AMD keep increasing, I'll put my teeth in, the core count of CPUs when game performance is still mostly determined by a small number of threads?
That's a great question, and you know, someone's got to be the leader. Someone has to look at where we want the industry to go, how are we going to improve. And the frequency race, I think, is over. You're not going to get huge, high 10, 20, 30 gigahertz chips that help games just scale without programmers having to learn about multi-threading and deferred context and ordered lists and all that kind of stuff. It would be great if the technology could do all the work, but we've reached the end of that. Now what we've got to do is innovate with what we've got. We've got a certain amount of power that we can use in the PC, and we've got to determine intelligently how is the best way to apply that. So a few years ago, AMD created a new programming layer interface, an API, called Mantle. And it worked really well for changing games from being stuck in this serial mode to being parallel. And it was so good it was actually adopted by the industry. So we've seen OpenGL, the Kronos group, developed OpenGL Vulkan. And that's now, based on Mantle technology, taking it to a whole new level, lets game developers, and that scales across phones, tablets, PCs, everything. Microsoft have taken a similar approach with DirectX 12. It's naturally multi-threaded. It uses all the cores and threads, and it makes it easy for the programmer to have more performance under his fingertips. So we're looking to the future. We're offering the high clock speeds to help improve performance on the classic games, the most popular games today, but we're also knowing where the industry is going. We're driving where the industry is going with more cores and threads. So we're offering this balance. We're trying to play both sides by offering a processor that is the most balanced processor on the market. It can deliver a great experience in the older games, and it's the best for the newer games.
There you go. Love it. Always looking to the future. That's what we like to hear from AMD. Okay, James from Milton Keynes sent in a question this week. He wants to know, will we ever see an AMD CPU that can play Supreme Commander smoothly? Now, just for the gamers too young to know better, Supreme Commander remains the benchmark RTS game, but even now a game can take upwards of 6 hours simply because of the thousands of units engaged in battle at any one time. So what would you say to that then, James?
I'd say that that type of game is the poster child for why these new APIs were needed, right? Because the very first thing that developers did with Mantle was create an RTS an engine, in fact, called the Oxide engine, that let you have 10 times as many units on screen, moving fluidly and fast, that will give you the most performance and stuff. So what I would say is Supreme Commander could benefit from a lot more frequency in a few areas, but everybody's capped, right? We're all on the ceiling right there. So the new generation of RTS like Civ 6 or Ashes of the Singularity, they love those cores and threads and DX12 mode. They use them all to their benefit, and you see beautiful performance scaling with cores and threads. So that's the solution to that answer. Will you ever see a processor that plays Supreme Commander 2 smoothly? Yeah, it's right here, it's Ryzen. Right? I haven't seen any benchmarks. I remember testing that game 4, 5, 6 years ago with the FXs and the Phenoms and the Core i7s at the time, and they all offered a great experience. It wasn't bad. It was all good. They're all great gaming processors, but we're taking it to the new level with the new APIs.
Awesome answer. Right, we've got a question for you here. You're going to have to do some, well, you're going to have to convince. It's Chris A.
Ooh.
He said he was a huge fan of AMD years ago, and I'm currently with Intel. He's got the one of the i7 chips. Please give me 4 good reasons to go back, besides your CPUs being newer and stronger than his ancient i7. Apparently he wants to stream UHD games, so what 4 reasons would you give him to come back to AMD?
Absolutely. So
give him your plea.
Yeah.
Go.
Great. So with Ryzen, you've got the best gaming and streaming processor that we can make, because it's beautifully balanced to be able to play the game at high frame rates. Like we've seen being able to play Overwatch at 90 plus frames per second at 1080p, stream to Twitch at the 6 megabit full resolution, right, with no drop frames, and at the same time record all that gameplay back down to the hard drive at 16 megabits. So you get a beautiful copy of your game to go and then edit for YouTube and make your highlight reel or whatever it is you want to do. We can do that today with Ryzen. That's what we do, is this multitasking, balanced performance, best everywhere. You're getting a beautiful game experience. So I would say that, if you're going to discount that we're faster, better, and better priced, and I need another reason, I would say it's because we do it all really well. So I'm going to call that my 4 reasons. So.
There you go. He's good, isn't he? Hopefully we've convinced you, Chris. Why not let us know what you think? Did he answer your question significantly enough there? I think that was really good, because we did put you on the spot there, didn't we? But, there's no messing about here with James. Let's see, which questions haven't we put to you so far? I'll have to have a little scroll through here. Keep your questions coming, though, and keep them... keep them very informative and clean, most of all. Okie doke. Right, what else have we got here? I'm trying to remember which ones we've put to you. I don't think we've done this one. Here we go. Going back to the question of gaming with the new Ryzen processors.
Sure.
Gaming was a hot topic of discussion with Ryzen last year. What can we expect from the Ryzen 7 2700X in today's games?
In today's games, you're going to see an excellent, beautiful, smooth experience. We worked really hard to deliver not only consistent frame rates, but consistently high frame rates. I think that's what you're going to see if you go look at all of the independent media reviews, is they will say that we are within 1% or as fast as the competition, delivering some great frame rates, delivering a great experience. You're going to get all the quality settings turned up high, in Ryzen, it's not going to be an issue. And at the same time, you can then go do other things. So if you're a gamer who turns on YouTube to play in the background, and then maybe you're watching a live stream or two like this one, plus you have music playing, chat windows, all that kind of stuff open, then that's all going to be taken care of because we have this significant multi-processing advantage. We've got the performance. So modern games, legacy games, we can do it all. We offer beautiful experiences, and it's going to be considered, you won't be able to tell the difference between any other processor out there. We're that good. But we offer all these other advantages. More compatibility with the existing platforms, you get the beautiful coolers, you can play with the RGB in between rounds, whatever you want to do, it's all here inside of Ryzen.
Awesome. Just a question from me, actually, whilst we're talking about RGB, because we do talk about it a lot. Are you a fan of RGB? What's your opinion on RGB?
Oh, I love RGB. It's
slightly off on a tangent.
Yeah, I love RGB. I mean, it's a kind of divisive thing in the community, right? There's people who hate it and there's people who love it. And that's when our marketing material, you'll see that one of the things we call out for the Wraith Prism is a dark mode for RGB heathens.
Yes.
Because we know there are people out there that are just like, no RGB, none at all, just let me turn it off.
Old school.
Old school, and that's fine, but there's people who like to look at their PC, they're engaged with it, because it's an investment. They're emotionally invested in this purchase. They love it, they want to tinker with it, they want to play with things. Maybe they don't want to do with overclocking, but now they can with RGB. They can personalize it to their taste. One of the cool things you can do with the software for the Wraith Prism is you manage the 3 different LED RGB zones independently and then save a profile, and you can share it with your friends. So like if you've built your own little clan, or you have a bunch of you guys are all doing it together, you can have all the same RGB settings just by saving it and sharing it around. Right, just fun stuff like that. We also have on the cooler itself, you can actually put Morse code messages. Oh, wow. So it will blink in Morse code at you. Oh, there's all kinds of there's so much customizability in there, and that's the signature of AMD is when we go into a feature, we try to really explore all of the arena to find out what is fun and exciting and useful things that we can do, or just playful. Yeah. Right? That's really where we come from.
And it looks like, I mean, I know, like you say, it divides the gaming community somewhat, doesn't it? But it does look like it's here to stay at the moment. I know we do a lot on RGB here. Anyway, we've got another question come through here from Phil Webb. He asks, is going from a 1600 to a 2600X on an X370 board an upgrade or a side grade?
That's a definite upgrade. You're going to feel a lot more performance right there. One of the most exciting things I saw in some of the tests we did with, in the independent reviews is that 2600X is as good at classic gaming as the 2700X. So now you're going to get that, if you're looking at, and your benchmark is the 8700K, now you've got a 6-core, 12-thread processor from AMD that's significantly different price, but it has a great cooler with it. It's got tons of performance. It's going to be almost head-to-head with this thing for a lot less money. So if you haven't overclocked that 1600 and you just want to drop it in and get a huge performance boost, that's the one to get.
That is the one. Just so that you know, we've probably only got about 5 minutes left on the live stream, so if you've got any burning questions, don't mess about. Get them sent to us on YouTube, and then our moderators will send them through. If it's a good one, of course, as I say, make them good. Right, let's find one on here that we've got. Right, I know we have spoken about StoreMI a little bit earlier on, but there was a specific question here, so just so we can make sure that everybody fully understands what it is. Here we go. So AMD has been working on a new storage technology called StoreMI. Basically, what does it do? As I say, we have covered it off a little bit, but just if you could tell us specifically just about
let's take the high-level view. So today, you find a lot of people are buying systems. They've got 2 different storage areas inside the computer. They'll have a fast flash-based storage like an SSD or an NVMe hard drive, and those are pretty pricey per gigabyte, so they'll be small capacity. So you need more storage space. Where do you put all your games? Well, you buy a bigger rotational hard drive that has tons of capacity, but it's slow to load. So now you've got to manage, where do you install your applications? Do you put some on the SSD, some on the hard drive? How do you move them backwards and forwards? And how long is it going to take? It's a little bit cumbersome. And there's a better way. And it's AMD StoreMI. Because what we can do is we can take those 2 devices, merge them together, make a single device. And then it just looks like one big single pool of storage. You just install everything in the same place, nice and simple and easy. And under the hood, we accelerate the data. We take the most used data from the slow hard drive and put it on the fast. And the stuff that's not used on the fast goes to the slow. So now you're going to get everything that you use most frequently inside your SSD. So it's like you've got a huge virtual SSD instead of this slow, fast experience. And that's going to have a number of good benefits. Like if you like your PC to boot up fast, it'll always boot up fast. If you like your games to load fast, it'll always load fast. If you like to open Office, Excel, PowerPoint all at the same time every day, boop, they're there. They'll be quick, right? And then we added a RAM cache as well. So 2-3 minutes after you've started your system, that most used data, the top up to 2 gigabytes, gets cached in memory. So where that's important is imagine you're a gamer playing Fortnite. The Fortnite way you play is you wait in the lobby, get in the match, loads up the game, die, back in the lobby, load up the match, play the game, die, right? It's just a circle. You're just going to be loading in the same data every single time. So why take it from the hard drive? Take it from memory. You're going to be the first guy to look in, first guy to load in. We've seen benefits of like up to 30 seconds faster load time from selecting the character in World of Warcraft to being playable. 30 seconds faster. Yeah. That's a beautiful experience upgrade that is going to be beneficial. Everybody's going to like that. Yeah. And it's free with the X470 motherboards.
Well, there you go. So if there were any doubts around that, I think you've explained that beautifully. There should be no doubts now at all. I'm just going to give a couple of shouts out to people that we've got here. We've got Risk Break. If I don't get to say your name, apologies. We'll be doing plenty of these, so we will get round to one day giving you all a shout out. We've got Rob James, Risk Breaker, James Spackle, you were the first one actually online, so we're going to give you a big shout out. David Watson, who else have we got? I'm not going to read all of them because some of the names are a little bit questionable, shall we say. Right, so you've got just a couple of minutes to get any more questions through. But whilst you're here, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit.
Let's do
this. I
don't
know if this is allowed or a bit naughty. But is there anything? I know obviously there's often a lot you can't talk about, and we've obviously had a massive sort of release this week. But what is going to be coming from AMD in the future then? Is there anything that you can tell us or tease us about? You know, what are you guys thinking? Anything in development? Is there anything that you can tell us? Or is
Absolutely.
The lawyer in the corner going to clobber me over the head?
Let's see how far we get through this, right? So we're on our optimization cycle. So AMD has an innovate, optimize cadence. So last year was the innovation, the brand new Zen core, the brand new 14 nanometer. Here we are in 2018. This is our optimize. So we got to 12 nanometer, which was great. It has a nice benefit, and we did Zen Plus. And then next year is going to be our big innovation again. So the new core architecture, the new process technology. So this year, we're going to get our new optimized processors launched, optimized motherboards launched, drive them to the highest level of success we can, get as many people as you can enjoying the excitement. We've got a second-gen Threadripper coming. If you don't know what Threadripper is, it's the honking, big, hairy CPU that is just, it's magnificent.
Honking, it's a great word.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun to create that. I was part of the team. It actually came out of a Skunkworks product. One of your
babies, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
It is. It was a Skunkworks project. We did it all behind the scenes and finally convinced the boss to give it the green light and fund it, and it's been a fantastic success. So we've got a second-gen version of that coming later in the year. Yeah. And then we'll see what happens towards the end of the year, and we start thinking about next year. So there's a lot of exciting things to happen. Yeah. A lot of things coming. It's going to be focused on the feedback, right? So now is the time to be telling us what you like about second gen, what you don't like, where can we improve. All of that stuff is we want to hear. We're trying to be really incredibly engaged with the community because that's how we differentiate from everybody else. We're not sitting away. We're right here. Yeah. We're trying to be you guys.
Yeah, well, it's important, isn't it? You're accessible, that's what you say. And that's why James is here today. You've got your opportunity on YouTube to write in the comments anything that you want us to feed back to him so that you can have some input into these developments that, you've kind of given us a little glimpse into that are going on behind the scenes. Well, I think we're out of time, actually. So we're going to be wrapping it up. But a huge thank you for coming over. Very passionate guy. I've really enjoyed talking to you. There's lots of great questions that we've had sent in this week and also from our live YouTube stream. Hopefully that's answered all of your questions as well. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Hopefully you'll be back again soon as well to talk about some of the exciting things that James has let us know are around the corner from AMD. And of course you can check out the tech spec that we posted this week on our YouTube channel. Go and have a watch of that. If you've got any more questions about anything, you can check out some of the benchmark tests that we did there as well. We've got all of the Ryzen chips, as you can see here. We've got them here at Scan, all variants, so check out on our website, scan.co.uk. Thank you very much for being with us today, and of course we'll see you again here soon. But don't forget to leave us some comments below on what you enjoyed about today. See you later.